How to create and format a partition using a bash script. Is there any way to create and format a partition using a bash script? I think it can be done with fdisk, but I don't know how to feed commands from the bash script into the fdisk shell and then exit the fdisk shell. I'd like to create a partition then format it to ntfs from within bash.
Similar to the previous suggestions, piping commands to fdisk, I found this approach useful to leave details for subsequent maintainers. The set bits strip off all the comments before fdisk gets the input.
fdisk. fdisk is a scripted version of fdisk. It is part of util Linux, just like fdisk, so availability should be the same. A partition table with a single partition that takes the whole disk can be created with. And more complex partition tables are explained below. To generate an example script, get the setup of one of your disks. Sample output on my Lenovo T430 Windows 7, Ubuntu Dual Boot. Once you have the script saved to a file, you can apply it to SBX with. For fdisk input, you can just omit the device names, and use lines of type. They are just ignored if present, and the device name is taken from the command line argument. Some explanations. Header lines, all optional. Label, type of partition table. DOS, MBR, is the old and widely supported one. GPT the new shiny thing. Unit, only sector is supported. One sector usually equals 512 bytes. Find width, cat/sys/block/sda/q/hw_sector_size. See also, finding the sector size of a partition. Device, informative only I think. Partition lines. Start, offset inside the disk at which the partition starts. Start has very good defaults, and can often be omitted. On the first line, start is 2048, i.e. 1 MB, 2048 plus 512, which is a sane default for disk compatibility. Further start entries default to the first unallocated position. Size, man_fdisk, says, the default value of size indicates as much as possible. So to fill the disk with a single partition use /dev/sda column start equals 2048, type equals 83. Type, magic byte stored on the boot sector for each partition entry. Possible values here, this URL on this example we observe. 7, SDA 1, 2 and 3, File systems that Windows supports. Pre-installed Windows stuff and Lenovo recovery partitions. Sudo bookid, labels help identify them. 5. SDA4, extended primary partition, which will contain other logical partitions, because we can only have 4 primary partitions with MBR. AE3 SDA5, 7, and 8, partitions which Linux supports. For me 1 home, and 2 roots with different Ubuntu versions. AE2, SD6, swap. fdisk can also read fdisk scripts with the I command, which sources them during an interactive fdisk session, allowing you further customization before writing the partition. Tested on Ubuntu 16.04, fdisk 2.27.1. Format and populate the partitions and image file without sudo. This answer is a good way to learn to use fdisk without blowing up your hard disks.
fdisk reads from stint, so you just need to feed it the appropriate commands. For example, the following clears the partition table, if there is one, and makes a new one that has a single partition, that is the entire disk. I recommend you do the task you want, recording what you type so you can reproduce it.
You can do it with just a couple of commands, use intros \n instead of multiple echoes.
This recording is interrupted.